x plus 7 over this thing. Find all vertical asymptotes. So again, I want you to work on this for a couple minutes on your own, and then we'll go over it. So now that we've done a few examples, now we've done examples where we get vertical asymptotes, or possibly not get vertical asymptotes by setting the denominator equal to 0. So now you know to be a bit more careful, right? So this is very similar to the last example, except now you're more informed, so to speak. Let's do this again, 3.5 minutes. All right, so now let's look at this problem. So this was very similar to the previous example. All right, so how do we start this problem? I just want to find the vertical asymptote. So how do I go about finding those asymptotes? Factor denominator. Okay, so let's do that, right? We're setting the denominator equal to 0. So if I fully factor this, I factor out an x squared at first, and then I get x squared minus 49. So that's a difference of squares. So fully factored, this gives us 3 possible vertical asymptotes. X equals 0, x equals 7, and x equals -7. Okay, now which of these are vertical asymptotes? So direct substitution of each number gives us, so let's see, so x equals 0, x equals 7, and x equals -7. Now, we already know that they all give 0 in the denominator, right? So they all give something over 0. So very quickly, so x equals 0 would give us 7 over 0, x equals 7 gives us 14 over 0, and x equals -7 gives us 0 over 0. So far, what can we conclude about vertical asymptotes? I have 3 candidates for vertical asymptotes, and I've substituted them all, and I get the following expression. So what can I automatically conclude so far? So far I can conclude that there are 2 vertical asymptotes at the very least, and Shield says 0 and 7 are vertical asymptotes. So just a minor point here. So vertical asymptotes are lines. So we don't say 0 and 7 are vertical asymptotes. We say the line x equals 0 is a vertical asymptote. The line x equals 7 is a vertical asymptote. Okay, so x equals 0, that's a vertical asymptote. X equals 7, that's a vertical asymptote. Why? Because I get non-zero over 0. That automatically means vertical asymptote. Now, what can you conclude about x equals -7? What can you conclude? Need to check, right? Need more analysis. Okay, good. So we find the limit. So let's do the limit of this function as x approaches -7. Now, the nice thing is in our work, to set the denominator equal to 0, we already had to factor the denominator. So that is factored for us already up here, right? So it's a matter of just kind of like, repeating that. So I've already done that factoring work. Now the x plus 7s actually do cancel out, right? There is a common factor of x plus 7. Good, so I see that in the chat, right? Factor everything out and then cancel the x plus 7s. And now what can I say here? Now that the x plus 7 has been canceled out entirely, I can do what? I can directly substitute. And we get here, so we get 49 times -14 in the denominator, and it's 1 over that. I don't even care what this number is. What is important about this number? That it's finite, right? It's not infinite. So I don't really care what the value of that number. I really don't. All I care about is that number is not infinite. So what can we conclude about x equals 7? It is not a vertical asymptote.